Hey guys, welcome to IE. Today what we're going to do is we're going to have a mixed warm-up where I'm going to review some aspects of data analysis and financial literacy. Then y'all are going to practice your knowledge of debit and credit cards by completing a Venn diagram. And then your teacher will play a quick video to refresh you on ratio and rates, which is your lesson for the day. Okay, so to start off, what we want to do is just review you a little bit on box plots and dot plots. Okay, so I'm going to try to make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so this is, I believe this is a question that we took on our this is from our last test that we had. And what I want to do is, before I go over the answer, I just want to review y'all on what everything is on a box plot. So that always helps us to figure out what they're looking for an answer choice. Okay, so let me read it and I'll review this. It says the box plot summarize the attendance for the spring musical and the fall musical. Each musical was performed for 6 evenings. So we have the spring musical represented by the top box plot and the fall by the bottom. Okay. It says which statement best describes the data represented in the box plots. So the best thing to do is to read it, to analyze it. What do you know? Okay. So this right here is the median. This guy right here, I didn't do a very good job putting that arrow there. Okay, this is your minimum, and this is your maximum. Okay, and the outside of your box, the left and the right hand side, that is your quartile 1 and your quartile 3, and that gives you your interquartile range. Okay, all right, so now, since I went over like the basics of that, now I'm going to refer to what's notated in the answer choices. So they're talking about the range for F, and the range, you get the range by going from you take your max and your min, your biggest and your smallest, and you subtract the smallest number from the largest. So that's max minus min. Okay, the interquartile range is the same thing. It's subtraction, but you take quartile 3 and you subtract quartile 1, and that's your range for the interquartile range. Guys, the interquartile range is always going to be smaller because it's the box inside. Your range is always going to be larger than this, okay? And then it talks about for half the evenings and for half the evenings. Well, let's recall that a box plot is split into quarters, or what we call quartiles. So from here to here is quartile 1. That's 1/4 of your data. From here to here is quartile 2. That's half of your data. From here to here is quartile 3, that's 3/4 of your data, and from here to here is quartile 4, and that's 100% of your data. Okay, so this is 25%, 50, 75, and 100. And likewise, I could do that backwards: 25, 50, 75, 100. So if you know those things, then when you go through and you read your answer choices, it's much easier to solve. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what the answer choices are. So we're looking for which one best describes. So F says the range in attendance for the fall musical is 85. So here's my fall musical right here. And if I go to the maximum, and the range is max minus min, it's 225, and my minimum is 140, and then I just subtract, borrow, and it's 85, and there's your answer. Okay, so if you understand all those different aspects of a box plot, it's much easier to solve if you do that first. Okay, same thing for a dot plot, okay? It says a dot plot shows the number of touchdowns a football team scored in 10 games last season. Which statement best describes the data shown in the dot plot, okay? So, if I look at this and I try to see what do I know about this, well, I can see that on number 2, it has the most dots. That's my peak, okay? I can see that like right over here in between 2 and 5, I have a gap. There's no data here. I see that on top of number 5, this dot is way away from these. So that is called our outlier. And then over here from 0 to 2, I have all my data clumped together and we call that a cluster. Okay, so if I can recall those different things, it makes it easier to go through the answer choices. One other thing I forgot to mention is this data is not symmetrical. So in order for it to be symmetrical, it has to look the same on the left as it does on the right, which it surely doesn't. Okay, so now let's read our answer choices. It says the peak of the data is at 5. Well, that's not true. The data is clustered from 0 to 2. There we go. So see, if you do that in the beginning, it's much easier. Sometimes you don't have to go through every answer choice and you can get your answer really quick. Okay? All right, so that's our data analysis review. And now for a financial literacy. Okay? So you're most likely going to see something like this, or you're going to see something with debit and credit cards, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. It says the annual means yearly, so every year. Median salary. Median just means like the average salary. When they add all their years up together, it's their average. So the annual median salary for athletic trainer is $36,000. For an executive chef, the median salary is $66,900 a year. Over a period of 15 years, how much more will the executive chef earn than the athletic trainer? Excuse me. So when we want to know how much more the chef is going to make than the trainer, we're looking for the difference. So that means I take my larger number because that is the executive chef. And then I take my athletic trainer and I'm going to subtract. And when I subtract, I get $30,900. Now that's the difference for 1 year. But it wants to know for 15 years. So then I would take my $30,900 and multiply it by 15. And I end up with this. Okay, so basically that's the gist of this, guys. Whenever you see something like this, what they're going to have you do is, you know, you're going to have to subtract and find the difference and then see how many years they want you to apply to it. Sometimes it's 15, sometimes it's 10, it could be 20. We don't know, but this is the gist of what you need to do, okay? All right, so lastly now, what you're going to do is your teacher should have this for you, and you should have these little cutouts. And your teacher, he or she, is going to give you a couple minutes. You can do this with a partner. And what I want you to do is I want you to sort these out into the correct space. So we're talking about a debit card and a credit card, and how are they different and how are they the same. So if it only belongs to a debit card, it goes here. Only a credit card, it goes here. But if it can apply to either one, then it goes in the middle. Okay? Okay, so your teacher should pause the video and give you like 2 minutes to get this done. Okay, so let's quickly go over what you have done and see if yours matches mine. If not, hopefully this will clear up some misconceptions. Okay, so first, for a debit card, your balance is related on this card to how much money you have. So you only can spend what you have in your checking or savings account to use your debit card. If you don't have the money, you can't spend it. If you spend more than the balance in your account, you will pay a hefty fee. So if you happen to go over on your spending somehow, they will charge you a fee, an overdraft fee. Okay. Also for debit, money is withdrawn directly from your checking or savings account, and it happens immediately. And you need a PIN, a personal identification number is needed in order to use your debit card. Okay. On the other hand, credit cards, consumers, which is people who buy stuff, can purchase items now and pay for them later. So if you don't have the money now, you can use your credit card and pay for it and pay the money back over time. Okay. The balance or the money you owe is related to the card is how much money that you owe them. So if you charge $500 on your credit card, your balance is how much money you owe at the time. And if you make a $100 payment, then you owe $400, but you also have to pay interest on that amount, okay, which is this one right here. Interest is charged if what you owe is not paid for each month. So if you get a bill and you charge $500 and you don't pay that $500 that month, that's okay. You can do that, but they're going to charge you a fee for you not paying it off immediately, okay? And each purchase is a loan that is repaid later. Okay, now inside the middle section, which relates to both of them, they're both small, hard plastic cards. Okay, they look the same. They have a magnetic strip or a chip. They have numbers and your name. Okay, so you can't really tell it apart unless you look and you see one says debit. Okay, either one, if your card is lost or stolen, you need to report it immediately so they can stop anybody from using it. You call the bank and nobody will be able to charge on your card. Fees may be charged on either one. Credit card, of course, if you don't pay on time. And a debit card, if you use a debit card to take out money out of the bank and you don't use your personal bank, they may charge you fees just to use a card. And both of these cards can be used to purchase goods or service. Okay? Okay, so hopefully we have a little better understanding of that. All right, so now, guys, your teacher should go ahead and play the Math Antics video up until, I believe it's 4 minutes and 7 seconds, and it's just a review on ratios and rates, and then you will complete the task card activity that's been provided to the teacher. Good luck. Please do your best, because remember, the star is in 2 weeks.